Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a bit of a TMI video for you, so if you're squeamish, look away. But today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 things that nobody told me about postpartum. I feel like as women we're quite prepared for the labour and delivery, but we're maybe less prepared for what comes after that, and there is a lot that comes after that. So these are 10 things that I wish someone had told me before I gave birth. And obviously this is very fresh in my mind because I gave birth to our third son, Jackson, just 2 weeks ago. This video is also in collaboration with Lights by TENA. They're currently running a competition where you could win £50 worth of Love to Shop vouchers every week, or one grand prize of a weekend away for two and £500 in Selfridges vouchers. And all you have to do to enter this competition is visit their website noonetoldme.co.uk and share your story. And it could be anything that no one had told you before, like you'll still get spots when you're older, or hot flushes, or experience little leaks. So that brings me to my first thing that no one told me about postpartum, and that is that you could have a weak pelvic floor after you give birth. Now obviously you've been walking around for 9 months with a heavy baby inside you pushing down on that muscle, and then you have pushed them out of you. But even if you've had a cesarean, you could still experience weakness. So it's so important that you do your pelvic floor or Kegel muscle exercises after you've given birth. So you may get a shock if you cough or you sneeze or you lift something heavy or you jump after you have given birth. You may experience some little leaks, but it doesn't only happen to pregnant or people that have just given birth. It could happen to any women at any point. 1 in 3 women suffer with little leaks. Next thing that no one told me about was how bad the afterpains would be, and that they get worse the more children you have. So obviously I've just had my third baby and the afterpains were so strong. For me, the afterpain contractions were almost worse than the ones that I experienced in labour. So I was taking paracetamol for them, but every time I breastfeed my baby, I have really strong contractions, and it's not only just in my stomach, sometimes I feel it in my back and in the tops of my legs as well. They're just really painful, and I did not realize that they were going to be that bad. The next thing that no one really talks about is how much bleeding you will do after you've given birth. Now obviously when you're pregnant you have an extra 50% of blood pumping through your body, which is why you can swell a bit, and obviously there's been lots of blood and liquid and everything around your baby, so it all has to come out while your uterus is contracting back. And there can even be little blood clots, which is completely normal but so scary to see. So just don't be shocked if there is loads of blood, and it can last 3 weeks. Next thing that no one told me about was about engorged breasts. I completely forgot, and no one ever told me about how when your milk comes in, how big your breasts get, and they get really hard and really sore. I promise they will calm down after 2 or 3 days, but on that first day when your milk comes in, they are just huge and scary, and you'll also be really hormonal because you haven't had enough hormones during your pregnancy, so you might be a bit emotional as well, but it's completely normal. The fifth thing that no one really talks about is how your belly is going to look after you've given birth. You will still look 6 months pregnant, so be careful what you pack in your hospital bag. And it can look a bit like a deflated balloon. But don't feel sad, it took 9 months to grow your belly with that baby in it, so it can take some time to get it back. Your uterus has to shrink right back down, so don't be disheartened. The sixth thing that may surprise you is postpartum hair loss. Obviously, when you're pregnant, you get beautiful hair because it stops falling out. So obviously, once the baby is out, your hair may start to come out. And I know for me, it sort of comes out in the shower. You will get regrowth, so don't worry, but it is still a bit of a shocker. The seventh thing that no one really talks about is the fear of going to the toilet after you have a baby. It can be really scary when you need a number 2 after you've given birth, because everything down there is quite sensitive, and also it's pretty scary to like push. So there are things you can take. You can take like stool softeners, or just be careful with what you eat in your diet. But I was surprised how scary it was to go to the toilet after you've had a baby. The next thing that surprised me is that my stomach split. So what that means is the 2 muscles that run down my stomach when I was pregnant, my baby was so big that it just split them in half. So when I had a postpartum checkup with the midwife, she was very like chilled about it. She was just like, you know, your stomach is split, you're gonna have to have physio to bring it back together. You can bring it back together, but it will never obviously be as small as it was before. Physio has really helped each time to bring my stomach muscles back together, but I didn't realize that that was something that could happen, and I didn't realize that it's actually quite a common thing to happen. Next thing that no one really tells you is how hard breastfeeding can be. I feel like I am a natural breastfeeder, but it's still really tricky. For the first few days, you know, just getting colostrum, and my baby was being sick bright yellow colostrum, which was a bit of a shock to me because I just didn't realize that it wouldn't be milk straight away in my first pregnancy. And also sometimes you have to like reshape your breast to get it into your baby's mouth and to get the latch correct. The whole thing about breastfeeding is that you need the latch to be correct, so it's definitely worth doing some research into what the latch looks like. You really want your baby to look like they are biting on your breast rather than sucking. You want to see the jaw movement like that. Breastfeeding to me seems like it's just such a natural thing, and I guess when I had my first baby I was surprised at how hard it can be and how you actually have to really persevere with it if you want it to be successful. Next thing that no one told me about is that giving birth on your back may not be the best way to give birth. When I had my first baby, I just lay down on the bed because they told me to, because then they have the best view of the baby's head, etc. But because I gave birth on my back, my tailbone, or coccyx as it's known, broke as he came through. So it actually cracked. They did an x-ray to confirm it. Whereas if I'd given birth on all fours, that never would have happened. So my 2 subsequent births, I've given birth on all fours and I've not had a problem. Right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and it was insightful and not too gross for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and I will see you soon.